Hi, welcome. I'm Allison, and this is Present Sensing Psychotherapy. Today I'm going to talk about rupture and repair in relationships, the dance of relationship. This is a blog post, and you're welcome to head over to presentsensing.com to read the full piece. Intimacy brings connection, belonging, and closeness, but it also carries risk. Strengthening relationships often means learning to trust the rupture and repair process. What do we mean when we say rupture in a relationship? Ruptures, fissures, hiccups, disconnection, these are inevitable parts of human connection. We are hardwired to impact each other, and this means that sometimes we miss each other, or something unexpected happens between us that makes the ground feel shaky and unnavigable. Ruptures can happen in small and big ways, such as a glitch in a Zoom call, or a missed text or delayed reply, a misunderstanding with a loved one, or a misstep or a misspeak in a conversation. These are moments that can suddenly leave us wondering, what happened? What's going on? Where did you go? Even the most well-meaning, emotionally intelligent people, such as teachers, partners, family, therapists, friends, we all miss each other sometimes. Ruptures are a part of the natural cycle of intimacy. They are a natural part of being in relationship with each other as humans. Here's why repair is really important in relationships. It can be so tempting to focus on the rupture part. You hurt me. I can't believe you said that. How could you? But the repair is actually the most crucial part of the cycle. If we can shift the spotlight from the rupture, or what feels like a problem, to now what, we can find our way back to each other. Repair, continuing to be together, committing to hang in, this creates an opportunity for trust, for increased intimacy, and for resilience or strength in a relationship. So when we say repair, it can look like a lot of different things. It can be coming back online after a technological glitch and checking in. How was that brief interruption for you? It felt abrupt to me to suddenly not see you. How about you? Or listening openly after a misunderstanding, sharing your experience without blaming the other person, receiving another person's version of events without jumping to being defensive, taking a moment to pause and listen and take in what the other person is saying and let it touch your heart. When we can hang in through the repair, relationships can deepen, can become stronger. And this is where intimacy can grow. Not just the intimacy possible in the relationship, but your capacity for intimacy can grow. I have a teacher who talks about the dance of relationship, the dance as though we're in a dance together. In a dance, both people are moving together and sometimes apart. So relationships are not static. Like the helical movement of planets through space, we are spiraling toward and away from each other, all the while trying to move forward together. This spiral is the dance of a relationship, disconnection and reconnection, rupture and repair, coming apart and coming back together, revealing and holding back, coming forward and withdrawing, making ourselves vulnerable and available for intimacy. In Gestalt therapy, this dance is honored as a natural process of connection and reconnection. So in therapy together, we create a space together that can support you to explore how you move through this rupture repair process. What's your response to conflict or the feeling you have in a disconnection. Does your belly drop out? Does your breath catch in your throat? We can explore these things in your relationships, in the session, and also beyond therapy. These are some questions that I've been asked and that also I'm imagining one might have about navigating this rupture and repair process in relationships. So, what does rupture and repair mean in therapy? And this refers to the inevitable moments of disconnection in relationships, even between a client and a therapist, and then most importantly, the process of repairing them. So these moments are opportunities in therapy for awareness and growth and reconnection. So you can learn that you can weather that stormy period and hang in. Why are ruptures inevitable? No one can be perfectly attuned all the time. Misunderstandings, mixed signals, or emotional missteps, these happen in every relationship at all ages. You don't outgrow this. What matters most is how we return to each other, our commitment to each other. And this often requires us to revisit our agreements around what works and doesn't work for us in the relationship as it is now. Sometimes a rupture is good news because it tells us something needs to change here. And so a rupture, however that comes, can be a sign that we need to revisit our agreement here around this. How can repair strengthen intimacy? I've talked about that a lot in this piece. Um, Repair can deepen trust when both people can share honestly and listen openly and reconnect. The relationship becomes more flexible and intimacy is possible. Closeness, the felt sense of you, I feel you here with me, and I feel myself here with you. That's what I mean when I say intimacy or closeness or trust. I now know what's possible more to say to you and know that you will hang in with me, that you won't go if I reveal this about myself to you. I know that now. I get asked this question probably more than all the others. What if I avoid rupture because I have a fear of conflict? Having a resistance around conflict is so very human. If you didn't get to experience the possibility of messing up or saying the wrong thing or being letting someone down, and the repair process after that, maybe you missed out on this earlier in your life. Either this wasn't modeled by your caregivers or the adults around you, or in your own conflicts through your life, it hasn't been possible for you to support yourself to hang in when there's a hiccup in the relationship. In any case, you may have learned that mistakes meant that you no longer belong, or that saying the wrong thing meant that it was over, one strike and you're out. It makes sense then that you'd want to avoid a situation where this would be possible. So, avoiding rupture, avoiding conflict, there's so many ways that we do that, and they're beyond the scope of this particular piece, but popular phrases in our culture include people pleasing, in order to avoid, like to keep smoothing things out. Any of the ways that you learned to avoid rupture, they often mean avoiding intimacy. It's not a bad thing. You haven't done it wrong, but it was the only way that you knew how to do life. So therapy can give you some other options to explore if that's of interest to you in building a trust in yourself, in your own sense of shaky ground and how to navigate that, and in your ability to face disconnection, the feeling of, I suddenly don't feel you with me, now what? Learning to be able to build your tolerance to be with that feeling of disconnection is a really important part of exploring relationships in therapy, including the therapeutic relationship, which ideally can become uh, a great example of us of a an open, trusting relationship. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to reading this piece. I'm always open to hearing your thoughts in the comments. And if this sounds interesting to you, I hope you'll let me know what you made of this. Thanks for being here.